Welcome to Study Time, a televised home learning program produced by Rwanda Basic Education Board.
Hello viewers, welcome back. And like we said in the previous lesson, it is end of it all, but end of it all part 1. So what does this mean? The unit is long, so we've covered a lot. So to whom so much is given, you know the saying, a lot is expected of you to give back. So it's a give me, give you, give me, give you. If I give you 10%, I expect twice as much. So that's a 20. If I give you 50, I expect 100%. So in this session, we are looking at ways in which we can capture the stretch of most of the things we have been able to cover through all the lessons we've done. You can imagine all, I think, around 7 lessons or 6 lessons. And we think that maybe, what if we check here and there? See, have you been following? And at what level? But the assignment is catering for both levels. The low level of understanding, the what, give and state, mention, stuff like that. They also have level 2 and level 3 and level 4, where you need to give a detailed explanation of the way you see things, a detailed description of how things work. We don't need any science here, but you just should be in position to tell what you see and how it appears, not why. The why is for the reasons. That's an explanation. The description is just mention the way you see things. If there are numbers, are they rising? Are they decreasing? At what trend? Between what times and what times? And in terms of how much? And then we should also be in position to make some bit of relationship. So are you able to bring ends come together and look at them, study them carefully, and make a conclusion? Can you find a connection between 2 different and wide worlds, and then you bring them together? And then we should also be in position to make some bit of evaluation, like a fallback, and say, ese niba bavuga ko tugomba gucuruza tugacuruza imbaho mu Gakinjiro hariya hepfo murahazi, tukajya mu mabuye y'agaciro tugacukura, then when it rains you can imagine what happens. And then tourists are coming up, then 20 years from now you need to have a very well finished and furnished house using timber, bricks. How do you strike the balance between all those? You don't want to lose the economy. You want housing to continue moving on. Housing estates are coming up. Everyone gets huge amount of money. Housing estates. Good returns. Posh houses. The question is, what are they consuming? Soil? So when you turn it into a brick, wonderful question. Do you give it a chance to go back to soil and have some digging? Are you replenishing it? Are you taking it away forever? So, we have a few questions and many more online activities you are still going to engage in, like we said in the previous lesson. And if you didn't catch that, then make sure you don't miss this. Question 1. You'll check words like stating, immediate, consequences. Now, this is grammar. That's the interesting part. And then science comes in. The environment is able to support. Does this take us back to sustainability? Is it taking us back to carrying capacity? Think about it. When a species, a population, rabbits, you remember, overshoot, climb up in the sky, exponential, rapid growth in numbers in a short space of time. The question now has to be, how much of the cabbages have you been growing to be able to support the rabbits? For those who look after rabbits, you must be knowing what I'm thinking about. What about the backyard? How much of the vegetation is there to support? Are you striking between selling a cabbage at 500 in Chimironko or passing on this cabbage to a rabbit that is able to produce, and then at the end of the day, you have 20 of them? Well, rabbit in a good restaurant, a bar. Unfortunately, they are closed during COVID, so you won't be in position to go and enjoy that. But which one makes a better return? Which one is sustainable? Supply humans with cabbage or supply them with rabbits that are feeding on the cabbage? Think about it. So what is the immediate effect when we have these rabbits rising in numbers as quickly as possible, and at the end of the day, your garden with cabbages cannot support it? Think about it. And it's one mark. So your writing, therefore, must tally with the stake against the question. The money for the item. Is it worth it? A good cabbage, 100 francs. A poor one, 10 francs. So in the same way, in assessment, you always, as a candidate, have to think about how a mark, a stake, or a score is put against the question. But you require so much care, with greatest attention possible, to interpret and check the command word. So in this case, we have the word state. So it's one word or two, end of the story. Don't write a whole paragraph. You still get 1 mark, and you run short of time to do the assignment. B, what does it say? That we need to be able to explain the consequence of overpopulation on survival and reproduction of better adapted individuals within a population. Now, 3 marks, as you can see, that's one. Second observation, we need to give reasons why. That's why we have the word explain. Check that again. We need an explanation for the effects of overpopulation if organisms survive and reproduce to have better ones that have special skills, special equipment, special features in our population. Which takes me to thinking about this, which you should also think about. For how long has the human population, human species, survived on planet Earth? What were the numbers before? 10th century, 15, 14, and all that. 2, what are the numbers now? 3, does it only apply to other organisms? When we talk of survival value, are we looking at only national parks? Because essentially we tend to always think about these other animals, and we forget ourselves. There are people who have a much better potential to eat well, better speeds in competition. Niba byita umururumba, niba ari ubusambo, or kurya bihuse, bagacura abandi, stuff like that. Now you need to think about this. If our numbers grow big, shall we reach a point when we shall have to compete for Chimironko market? and other places. All markets around the country. I remember when they said, at midnight, if you remember the announcement, lockdown starts. Most shops closed. No businesses. I happen to stay in a place where it is easy for me to get to a boutique and buy a few things, but cars, people were lining up for food like there is no tomorrow, like it's all over. So it came to my mind, I started thinking, what about this other person that did not have the potential to come and do the purchase? What about when prices skyrocket and we cannot afford because we earn less and we only live within our means? But the incidents have brought in a situation where we have to find a way, the new normal. Wonderful. It's a very big phrase of words, new normal. You adapt to it, fine. You don't, you're kicked out. So when numbers grow big and organisms have to survive, what about those that do not have special features to actually move on in their population? Do they run away? Where do they go to? Do they decide to start eating at night when others are asleep? Do they do the early hunting before others come? Such questions. So, when we go to the next slide, like I promised you, a few small things we need to think about. And here we have the answers to to question number 1. And it's only that I'm going to do for you. So don't keep waiting. Teacher, give us another question and the other answer. Nibyo nguhaye nta bindi ibisigaye urikwacha. So let's check through the responses and check the very understanding of what is required and what you will write, and the examiner says, you know what? This is not allowed. It tends to look correct, but is not expected to be the right answer to the question. So, if we get back to the question, state the immediate effect or the immediate consequence of a species producing more offspring than the environment can support. I remember telling you again, remember the rabbits we looked at in one of the lessons when we were talking about population dynamics, population characteristics. So, 1, become too many at home, mommy does not buy a bigger dish. The dish is going to remain the same, but the serving spoon has to reduce in size. Or the one doing the serving has to do a lot of math. Think about it, especially when uninvited guests come home. What do? I know. For you, you're lucky. During our days, the best meal was always for the guests. Then you, the children, you stay behind, and maybe another cooking can be reorganized. But good enough during that time, food was enough. Resources were still available. Not now when we are even competing for space to walk in town. There used to be no traffic jam. Traffic jam is just a modern word. Some of us don't know it in our young age, but for you, you know it when you're 5 years. Imagine what is going to happen. So, 1, you either experience competition or the lack of resources or death or exceeding carrying capacity. All these can be as well described. But remember, when we say overpopulation, it doesn't mean that there is competition. When we say natural selection, it doesn't mean that it is overpopulation. It is competition. it doesn't mean that there is lack of resources. It's about what immediately happens when numbers overshoot. We are not talking about long-term effects. We are talking about immediate. That's why the word was saying, immediate consequence. Ingaruka. Zako kanya. Hatarashira n'icyumweru. Those who have ever looked after chicken, rabbits, cows, you know what happens when numbers are so big and you have few resources. So these other words, overpopulation and natural selection, these are long-term. They are not immediate effects. Check that again. Long-term, not immediate. B, back to the question again. Explaining the consequence of overpopulation on survival and reproduction of better adapted. Come on, look at this. 2020, which the paper said, life has become so hard. What do I really have to do? I go for shopping, I use an envelope. Before I would just go and say, how much is matoke? Say, icho chose ni jumbi. Kashira kumutwe, ugateru ugata. This time, you go with an envelope. 2 kilos. How many fingers? How many pieces of banana? 1, 2, 3, 4, a kilo is over. Now, some have become so wise because they even don't want to lose it all. They have goats at home they are looking after. So they say, can we also peel for you? Say, it's okay because you don't have a trash can at home. So they do the peeling. They have cheated you. They are taking the peelings to their goats. Sustainable practice. What do you do at home? Why don't you say no, so you also rear a goat at home and give it the feeding? Maybe one day when there is no matoke, then this goat can give you meat. Think about it. So when we look at the population increment in cities and life getting harder, remember when we talk of adaptive features, we are actually indirectly saying life has become so hard that only the best, only those that have the money, only those that have the best features. If you're all dogs that are hunting, a better dog will know how to lay the traps. A better lion would have to know how to lay an ambush. The best cheetah would have to go more than 102 kilometers per hour. So one that hits a 90, one that hits a 60 kilometers per hour will run all its energy out in a short space. Remember, they sprint and they move so fast, cover a short distance, they should have devoured their prey. Short of that, they have wasted energy they would have survived on for a whole week, and unfortunately, they haven't got the food. How do you expect them to survive the next day? How are they going to reproduce? Reproduction requires energy. So, those that have got better features to run around and find a way out, not everybody survives in town. So within a population, some do well and others don't. But when we have overpopulation, what about these two? So here we go. Let's check it again. Better adaptation. So when features to live long and have special ways to find the food while others cannot, there is a trend. Surviving fair enough, 10 years after, better equipped to survive, and on and on. So the process goes on and on like that. Like as life gets harder, people become wiser. Again, when organisms are better adapted, chances for reproduction increase. So we have more offsprings. These pass on their features to the generation they have produced. And when they also grow, because they have the features they got from their parents and they're also able to survive so well, they also produce, they are able to live long enough. We talk of longevity. We talk of lifespan. So the frequency, the repetition of these good features will tend to keep going up within a population. And when nature starts choosing who to survive and who not to survive, the ones chosen by nature, natural selection, most suited to survive, as determined by the environment. Long after, we evolve. Are we the first humans? If we were to bring their remains back, do we have the same shape? Controversies. Science, biblical. Who did God create? Is it me today or the first human? When we look at the remains, we look different. That's a question for you. The other one, here we go. Sustainable communities or ecosystems will allow continued survival. I mean, better features, pass them on, then a community keeps on. It's sustained. Natural ecosystems can be sustainable when you leave nature to play its role, to choose who to survive and who not to survive. Then along the way, only those that are best suited are given a chance to continue producing. So along the way, you have only a population with the best features able to make it. We get a chance for diversity when you allow different dogs to do the mating, when you allow cows to populate themselves freely, when you allow the external forces of nature on a population, there is always going to be a fair balance of it all. We have a diverse community. A variety of genes will come in because you're allowing different colors of cows and dogs and all the different populations to interbreed freely. You're not selecting. You're not going artificial. Kushaka mata menshi, I want a Frisian cow. Wagumani ni nyarwanda gitwaichi. So, when we do artificial selection, when we force who to produce and who should not produce, we reduce on the variety. When you allow nature to do its role, then we increase on the variety. Alternatively, remember, these responses provided doesn't mean that when you give all these, you will get more marks. Part 1 is an alternative of part 2, and so is an alternative of part 3. So you can either answer this way, like we've just talked about, or you reverse it. You go in the reverse mode. The first part is positive. But can't I answer this question in a negative way? Instead of saying increase diversity, I would say reduce diversity. It therefore means that if one writes increase diversity when we allow natural populations to adapt themselves to changes, and then again write number 2, reduce diversity, it simply means that I've actually not added any value to my response. It doesn't. It therefore means that all these 3 categories of responses satisfy the question we looked at. So you do not duplicate. And there's nothing wrong with answering the question negatively in the reverse mode. This would rise because we are having this, or it would fall because we have this, and that. That's what we are looking at in the design of the responses provided. Remember, I repeat, it's not a continuation that there are all different answers. It is a repeat. So either you answer this way, or that way, but the marks remain the same. It's just showing you the diverse nature in which we can respond to the question. When we go to the other one, remember I told you to have a camera or a phone next to you So here we now have populations, us. And we are looking at countries A and B with numbers, years, the year and the country. And we are looking at 1940, long time ago, 2020, today. It's country A, it's country B. I want you to think of a possibility if maybe one of these countries is Rwanda. So we are going the math section now. We are going to use the axes. I have not put them there, so you need to get a pen and a ruler and start drawing, sketch, use your math skills. I'm not teaching math, remember, and that's why I'm even not having it on the whiteboard to draw for you. Then what's your role if I'm to draw that graph for you? You learned it in math. You should be able to know what the x-axis is and the y-axis is, and they are saying on the axis. So the guiding is to a higher level. You are not in S1, where we say, put this on the y-axis, and then put this on the x-axis. No, you've grown. So we are to develop curves between 1940 and 1920. We are sketching, we are plotting, we are entering the data, 3 marks. Question is, which country, OAB, is most likely to be developing country? So you need to think about the features looked at. How does a developing country look like? What are the population figures looking like? More or less? It's up to you. And B, our pyramids, not in Egypt. Age-sex pyramids we looked at the other time below, showing the population of developed and developing country. I want you to take note of this, that the first one was about data, tables, so you go graph. The second, diagrams. Take a snapshot on the 3 to 1, 2, 1, 0. Screen is off. Here are the questions. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You should have taken a screenshot of that. And lastly, take a screenshot of that. Those are the links which you'll do in the same way we did in the previous lesson about the homework for natural resources. You'll type and click exactly, and that's it. Thank you so much.